Believe we're live. Hi, welcome. This is Dr. Majorie Lewis, and I'm here from the Memory Rainbow Academy, and we're going to be doing Premiere Pro and Chat-GPT interaction. Everyone knows about Chat-GPT by now. The whole world is going crazy about it, and it's there as a tool, as an assistant to help us work a little bit faster and help us with ideas. We still have to do our own work. I mean, it's not going to do everything for us. We still have to have our own ingenuity, how we proceed, and everyone's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be no different than having an assistant in your office that's very bright. In the past, you had to be super, super wealthy to get any kind of assistance, anyone to help you bounce off ideas. Now, anybody can do it. Young people, older Americans, disabled, anyone, and you can do it right from home. So I think it's a great equalizer, and anyone who's felt like, you know what, I can't afford to hire someone to help me in the office, you have Chat-GPT. Right now it's free, and I have the plus version, so you can pay $20 a month, so that way you get on and you're not kicked off as quickly. So you decide how you want to do it. But I find it very useful to help me kind of speed things up a little bit. But still, like I said, the ideas are still going to be yours, and the way you do things will always be different than the way other people do it. So here you can take a look at my screen. You should be seeing my screen. Hopefully you can follow my lips, and they are moving in rhythm. I hope. Okay, let me know in the stream. Let me turn on if anybody is able to come on live with me, or if you're watching it in the future, go ahead and leave me some comments about how you like the presentation. I'm doing this mostly for beginners, so it's not going to be fast. It's going to be much slower, and I'm going to try to be as detailed as possible for the beginner. All right. So here you are. You should see my screen. This is the Premiere. When you open up Premiere Pro, you can have a new project, open a new project here, or open your previous projects rather. This is home. All right, so I have already opened up a project, or started a new project, I should say. So I'm going to open one by clicking on New Motivational. So it's going to take a second. Okay, so it launches. And in here, okay, sorry about that. My camera will periodically reset itself. It's a Canon camera, and every 15 or 20 minutes, it does reset itself. I don't have to get up, so that's great. I use Magic Lantern to set it so that it will reset itself. It's one of the older cameras. All right, so let me take this off the screen. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my overlay. Just going to tap that to get it right. Okay, perfect. And then we can go back. Okay, great. So you're looking at Premiere Pro right now. Let me bring this up so you can see it. So the way I think about Premiere Pro is, you know, the idea of it having a project and then sequences can be a little bit confusing to a beginner, because it was to me, and it took me a while to think about a timeline. It all just seemed to be too much. So the way I make it easy for me to kind of just take away the mystery out of Adobe Premiere Pro, because it's a fantastic program if you learn how it works. So I think of it as a book, all right? I think of a book with the title of the book being the project. So when you see the project here, I have the basic project as being New Motivational, all right? That's the name of and you can see it down here in the project panel. I'm going to go over all the different panels really fast, because this is your timeline and this is your main screen, you know, where, like your program monitor, where you're going to see everything, all the clips once they're in the timeline. And this appears like your effects control panel. So here's how I think of sequences. This is what's confusing when you first begin. I think of it as the chapters in a book. And you can have as many chapters, you can have 1 to 100 or more chapters in your book, which is the project. So you can have multiple sequences, you can have 100 sequences if you want. Not only that, but you can print out a chapter of your book if you would like and take a look at it. You could have a hard copy of it, or you can publish one chapter, whatever you want to do. It's the same thing with the sequence. What you can do is the sequence is like an individual chapter with its own storyline, its own clips, and you can simply export that particular sequence or chapter as a video. So we're going to be doing vertical videos today because I want to just move a little bit faster to come up with a system so that I can have multiple short videos ready to go instead of having to make one each day. So I'm trying to streamline or automate the process. So I think of all these sequences as chapters. So I sort of build them up using Canva, using Pixel, using Pixabay. And all you have to do is go online, and all of them give you free options. Some of them do have other options. If you wanted the paid version, you'll get a little bit more. For Canva, Pixel, and Pixabay, they all have some. If it's not a completely paid version, there are going to be artists there who are selling some of their works, and I've noticed that. And so they're asking certain price for it or for you to make donations. Okay, so that's available. All right, so here's my project, which I think as my book cover, new motivational videos. And over here, I have created several chapters or sequences, and they're all individual. Here's one that says Stand Still. That one I've actually already published. And so I can pull my cursor over it, and you'll see, if you've seen that video, there it is, right? Okay, so that's one, and I can go ahead and I can publish that by going to my export, and you notice that around it, it has this blue outline, meaning that that is the particular sequence or chapter that I'm working on, and that's the one that will be projected into this monitor in front of me here, just like a television monitor. If I want to work on a separate one, here's one that I'm going to be working on called Gratitude. These are clips that I've gotten from either Canva or Pixabay or Pixels, and I've brought them in, and so I can pull this is the playhead, which I'm manually using my trackpad and in my right hand just to hold down on the trackpad and just to physically just pull it. I mean, I don't have to do that, but I just wanted to show you slowly that I've pulled in several videos from these places absolutely for free. And if I wanted to play them, I just hit the space bar and it starts to play. Okay, so I can stop it by hitting the same space bar again. So you start with the space bar and you end with it. If you want to, this is one of the things that I didn't know when I first started Premiere Pro, and I wish I had known. I was wondering, how do you get this playhead back to the beginning really fast? And there wasn't an easy button anywhere. I really believe that we should have a button up here that you can just click and bring it right back. But the shortcut of it is going to be Shift Play and then hit play again, because as soon as you hit play, it's going to start playing. So to stop it, you can just quickly hit the play. So you can do it twice. So if it's all the way over here and you want to get back to the very beginning, Shift and spacebar play, and then you can hit it and it will stop, right? And then you can physically bring it back, or you can hit it play really fast to get it to stop at 0. Another trick that I've used to get the playhead, what I was using, I would go over here. If you notice these numbers, this is, hours, seconds, and I guess milliseconds. And up here, you also have a timer too with similar hours and minutes. seconds and so forth, hours, minutes, seconds, and then I guess milliseconds. Okay, so this particular one down here tells you where the playhead is. So here it's at 6 seconds. This is the seconds right here. It's the third from the left. And as I move it, you'll see how it increases, right? All the way to 22 seconds. Now, up here, this one tells you, let me bring it down to see if there's anything. There's something there. If you notice, it picked up on something that I have here. I think it's an additional of the same. You notice that? This is going to give you the entire timeline, whereas this one is only telling you where the playhead is. This one gives you the entirety of it. So when you see this number being a lot higher, see all the space here, it means that you've had something hidden down here. The way you can check to make sure that you don't have any additional clips that you may have put there yourself to hold, or it just got left there by accident. You're going to go up to the plus on your keyboard and just hit plus, or rather I would hit minus, I'm sorry, to contract it. Okay, so when you hit the minus, it brings everything all together. And when you hit plus, it brings it all out. So if you want to come in as close as possible to see everything, you notice how everything is squished together, you can hit that minus button and it does that for you. So you to open it up to see what's there, now you see very clearly the clip, which is an additional clip. I really don't need that. It's highlighted, so I can just hit the delete button and it's gone. Let's see now. Go back down. Okay, so now you notice 2207 and 2206. Let's see if there's anything else that's there. I don't really see anything else there. So it really should. Essentially, it should be just about the same. Slightly different, but just be aware when you're deciding just how many seconds your video is, because remember, these vertical videos have to be under 60 seconds. So be careful to watch this number. This is the final number here. This is what's going to go out unless you hit your in and out to make sure. Oh, well, you know what? I was actually... And this is really good because you notice how close it looked at first. Now, when I expand this timeline, look how much space is actually between the clip and the playhead. Now, you can use your arrows, right? Now, look at the arrows on the right side and the bottom, the right lower quadrant of your keyboard. I'm going to have right lower quadrant, right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, and left lower quadrant. So you divide it in 4s. So all the corners are quadrants. And at the right lower quadrant, you've got your arrows. This is how at least I'm on a Mac, and that's where mine are. Several people have different keyboards, but this is the standard. Most likely it's in that general area. So you can, to move your playhead, you can go up and you see how it moves to each cut. It moves to each cut when you go up, and then go down, and it's moving, so it moves all the way to the end. Now you notice, because you're using the computer to do this, you'll notice these numbers is 22 seconds and 06 basically, I'm calling it milliseconds. It may just be marks. And here you have 22 and 06 milliseconds. I'm going to call it that. All right. And now they're exactly the same. So if you were to export this, you know exactly this is the number that is going to come up. So don't just be fooled. I was once fooled by this because I thought I had 60 seconds, but when I looked up here, it was a minute and a few more seconds, and so it didn't qualify as a short. So when you get it into YouTube or wherever, make sure, especially YouTube, that you don't have 1 second or millisecond more than the 1 minute mark. So just keep that in mind. Now, getting around the interface is extremely important when you're a beginner. This is your timeline and your playhead. You can manually drag it around, or as I said, you can use your arrow to move it back and forth. If you want to zero this out, one of the things I learned to do, I highlight this number, hit 00, and hit enter. And it's going to bring your playhead right back to a full 00. So that's another way to get back to 00. If you are far away and you're not sure where you are, you can hit your minus key also, and it contracts your entire clips. All the clips will get tighter and tighter. All right. Over here, you can lock anything that you want. You can hit the lock and key. All right. And you notice these hatch marks means that nothing, if you want to protect something, that's how you do it. If you want to lock everything in notice that this is the A1, A2, A3, A4. That's A for audio, all right? So that's different from the video, V1, V2. It goes from the bottom up, V1, V2, V3, V4, and then A1, A2, A3, A4. So it's kind of like a stack in this way and a stack in that way. If you want to lock all of these video clips, you want to put your cursor on the very top video. You want to hold your shift key down with your left hand and then click either with your mouse or your keypad. And you noticed all of them turned blue. So all of them became locked, but it didn't lock the audio in the bottom. So to unlock that, you simply mouse over the same top one again, hold your shift and click it again, and it unlocks all of them. You want to do it for the audio, you do the same thing. You click the top one and you notice every one of the audios there are all locked, but it didn't lock the video. To unlock those, you go back over it, you hold your shift, hold shift and click it, and they're all unlocked. So that's really a nice trick to know. If you're going to bring in something, manually drag things in from this project, which is sort of like your holdover. This particular area is where everything comes in from your media browser. This is where it's like your storage bin. You know, don't be scared of it. It's like the storage bin where you bring everything in as your hold-in tank. This is where you hold everything, and then when you want something, you can either drag it over or you can click on it and it goes up here, and then you can use your comma or your period to bring it down here. You use your comma if you want it to bring whatever it is you want inside and move everything over out of the way to the right, or your period if you just want to drop it on top of whatever is there. It's going to eat up anything like a Pac-Man that's in its way if you use the period when you bring it up here. Okay. Now, when you're bringing something in from up here, which is like your pre-program area, you just want to preview something, I can just bring this up here, for example, double click it. Let me move this out the way. If you wanted to bring it in, you can drag it in. You notice you go over this area and it says video only. I can drag in just the video. I can go over here and I can drag in just the audio. Okay. audio only. You can drag either one, or you can bring in both of them together by using your comma and your period. Okay. Over here, you can do different things in terms of looking at this area. You can make them large, you can make them small so you can see everything. Scroll up and down, put them into bins to organize them, which is the best. I just left everything up because it's just easier to see. I don't have that much stuff, but if you want more, all you have to do is click on this bin, and then you simply name it and you drag them in. And this is how you make your sequence. So this is really, really cool. And this is the key, I think, to automating your production of your vertical video, your YouTube shorts and TikTok videos, whatever you want. This is what I use. I go in here and I click on this little icon. Can you see that? Okay. When you click on it, it says sequence, shortcuts, various things. What you really want is this sequence. You simply click on it and look what it's going to do. It opens up this new sequence panel. Now, I already have a custom vertical social media created, vertical shorts. I actually did them several times. It's very easy to create them. So you want to go ahead and create yourself a vertical video, which is basically just simply going to have the 1920 is going to be high and your 1080 is going to be your width, and it's the opposite for your horizontal regular videos. So what I do is I name it. Whatever video I'm going to put out, I think of it as a chapter. And so if I'm going to do something motivational, I would say something about love. If I wanted to do something on love, and I would name it 01 because I'm using them individually as individual chapters. So I don't really care about the number that I use. It doesn't really matter. This gives me my dimensions, and I simply will click OK. And you notice here it is. I can go into self-motivation. There it is. I can click on this positive, feeling stuck. So whichever one I want, I simply will be dragging in my videos that I want. If I go to love, and I can come over here. Now, one of the first things, if you already have your clips pulled in, I already pulled them in. So I'm going to, for example, this is highlighted, right? So you know you're not on this chapter or that chapter or that chapter. All these are sequences and chapters that I made. So this is the most recent one I made. So what I'm going to do, I can physically drag this in like this. And it dragged it into... It asks me, do I want to keep the existing settings? And I can say yes. It dragged this one into V2 and this one into A2. And I'm just going to undo that. If I want to bring this one in, I highlight it. Make sure you've got the blue around it when you're working from this panel to get things into your timeline. But the important thing is, if it has audio, you need to, if you want to bring it down, then you need to highlight. It probably doesn't have an audio on it. Let me see if I have one with an audio. Let's see. Does this one have audio? Let's see. That's weird that it's not. Maybe it doesn't have an audio. Let's see. These are mostly just video clips. Okay, I think this one has an audio. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that one off. Take this one off. And take that one off. So here, audio, let me take this one off too. I'm going to remove all these blues. Now here's what I think. This can be a little bit confusing. These are tracks that go across in rows, right? From right to left. I think of them as rows instead of tracks because it just makes more sense to me that I'm dealing with columns going up and down and I'm dealing with rows. I don't know why you have to change it to make it a track, but that's how Adobe has it. For me, in my mind, it works much more simpler for me to think of these as just rows. So in order for you to pinpoint the row that you're working in, it's important if you're coming from up here and bringing something in, telling the computer what you want, you need to tell the computer where you want it to go. So the way Adobe has it set up is to specifically identify the row to put the audio in and a row to put the video in. Remember, they're going on separate rows or tracks. They call them tracks. I use it as a row. So whichever row you want your audio in, you can put it wherever you want. You can put it one in V3 or A4. It's up to you. The computer will put it wherever you want it to go. So if you want this particular track, it's going to separate the video and it's going to put it on V1. You notice I have, there's two V1s, one in the center, okay, which is track targeting, and then you have source patching. I don't know why they have these names. The names are very confusing, and I think that's why people are intimidated by Premiere Pro. They need to change these names and just refer to them as rows. Identification of a row. So if you're coming from up here, they add an additional identifier for the computer separate from this. If you're pulling it, you're using this middle one, and you're going to use the one on the left for this top. Just think of it as put a rope or a string between here and the outside. Okay, so you're telling the computer that you want this clip to go on V1 and you want the audio to go on A1. And it's going to be row V1 and row A1. So all these are identified. Notice everything else I have removed the row selector. So all I have to do is I can choose now, since it's empty, you'll see it's at 0. I'm going to hit the comma. And you see what happens? It brought it right down. Okay. And it's a clip. Apparently it was a composite clip, so it brought everything in. So I'm going to undo that. I can use the... Actually, you know what I did? I think I used... and this is very important. The clip that actually came in did not come in from up here because I didn't select it. The blue is actually, if you notice, the blue is over here. So it came in from the project. So that was a good error. Okay. Make sure that you highlight the section that you want. So let me go. And this one apparently doesn't have audio because it's not showing. So let me go back up here. If I hit the comma, it comes in by itself because it didn't have any audio attached to it. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. Let me go back. Let me use this one then. Should be, let's see now. Control Z, Control Z. I'm going to delete all of that. Let's see. should. Okay, so that's the one that's coming down. I don't know why it is. Acting a little bit strange. Let me see if I click on this. Yeah, it should switch. When you double click, it should switch. For example, I've switched here. I'm going to delete that. Click on that and delete it. And let me see. I don't know if this one has an audio. It doesn't appear to have an audio either, because if I bring it in, it comes in. Okay. I'm going to delete that and go back to the beginning. But that's the whole idea. If you have, these are not necessarily audio clips that are attached, because I have my audio separate. But that's the whole concept. Whenever you bring, if you notice that you bring in a clip and it doesn't have an audio with it, just be sure that an audio is attached to that clip, and that you have a blue, that one of these A1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever, has been patched with that blue, just like you did with the V, and it will bring both of them in. Also, if you're pulling it in from the project panel, make sure that you also have the blue row selector on. Otherwise, it may just bring in just the video or the audio by itself. So that's just something to keep in mind when you have those particular clips. These are basically just videos that I'm using, and I'm not necessarily interested in any kind of audio that might be attached to them. It probably would just be the sound of a river or something, but not necessarily any voice. There's no voice attached to these, because I'm going to be using my own voice to tape the quotes. All right, so basically, oh yes, when you're on the timeline, let me just bring this down just to show you. When you're on the timeline, I wanted you to remember the JKL keys. Make sure you selected the panel. Always look for the blue, or you'll be hitting the J and nothing's moving. Okay, so it moves quickly that way. The L key takes it quickly back to the other way, and you can, as fast as you hit it, it'll go faster. Okay, that's my camera just resetting itself. It's going to be back on in a second. So once you start the J key, it's moving along. You can hit it once and it's moving slowly to the left. You can stop it by hitting the K. So the K in the center is the stop key, right? So you stop with the K. You move with the L, okay, and you notice it's moving, and to stop it, you hit the K key. All right, so that's perfect. If you are, let me see if I can split this. I'm going to cut this. I like to use Shift Command K when I'm cutting my clip, because it will cut through everything from top to bottom, and most of the time I'm cutting everything so that my lips remain synced and I don't have my audio with a different time from my clip. So it all depends. If you don't want it, then you just use the cut feature. Just use the little razor blade, which is C. So if I wanted to come over here and I just want to cut that, I can say C, hit C, and it brings up the razor, and I click it and it's done. And it'll only cut that one clip that you've selected. You can Control Z if you want to change your mind, which is wonderful about Premiere Pro. You can undo it with that. To get rid of it, to get rid of this, you can hit the V key, or you can go up here and hit this icon, and it just gets rid of everything. So I'm going to cut that again. Shift Command K. Shift Command K. And I'm going to delete a piece of that just to show you, and bring it back over here. Say I'm over here, and I want to bring this clip to this. Use your arrow and it will bring it over to the clip side that you want to bring it over to. All right, so I can go back with the down arrow, up arrow, down arrow, up arrow, just very easy back and forth. So just practice deleting a piece of clip and go back and forth with your arrow, your top arrow, your bottom arrow. So when you get over to this left side, think of the W key. It's going to be Q or W, so it's the W is the one that we're going to use. I always turn the W on its side, and then I think of it as having hooks in that W that pulls everything to it. So I will hit the W key, and it just contracts everything, yanks everything over to the left side, right? So think of the W key as being on its side, and I always think of it as yanking things towards it. All right, you can undo that. All right, you want to do it again, you hit the double key, and it closes the gap and brings everything together perfectly. So that's a really nice shortcut to use. All right, so let me undo that. Then I think, let's see. That brings it Control Z. If you're over here, let me see. Okay, all right, there we are. So say you're over here, you've got, this is cut, right? And this, you want to get rid of, say you're here, let me see where the video is, right? You want to get rid of all of that, and you want to bring this clip to this side. You hit the Q key, see that? And it will cut away all of it and bring it all together. That's the Q key. Let's undo that again. You say you find the spot that you want to get rid of. All of this stuff you want to get rid of. I'm going to bring it all the way to the end. You like all of this. All you want is maybe just her face in that position. Let me go back to that. You just want her face in that position. Say you want to get rid of the rest of that clip, because you know you're working with very short videos, and so maybe that's the only scene you want with her eyes closed. The rest of it, you just want to get rid of it. And rather than to cut it with this key, with the C key, hitting C or the razor blade or Control K and then deleting, and you know it's too many steps. So as long as you have a cut here, it's already cut from this clip, the end is free. The end must already be free for this to work. And all you're going to do is say, I'm going to get rid of everything from that's under the playhead to this cut, right? And you hit the Q key. And that's it. All you have now is that video with her face like that. Perfect area, right? If you want to move to this spot here, and that's all you want is her face in that direction. And now you have a cut here. Remember, it's cut. This particular clip is cut, and it's separated from this clip. Over here, you can see you can highlight them separately. This one is here, and you want to keep that particular, because this is up here where her face is turned that way. You hit the Q key, and it takes you there. So now you have her face like this, and then her face like this. Up to here is where you want to end that. Okay, then if you don't want that, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z as much as you want until it's one piece all over again. So that's a really nice way of cutting up your clip very quickly. So that's helped me tremendously to start cutting up the clip without having to take so much time. So JKL for speed, W to close that gap, turn it on its side, pulling things towards it. The Q, when you have a segment and you want to get rid of everything from the playhead to the left side. right? That's how you're going to use the Q key. So then if you have a clip, I'm going to cut this in half. And say you want to get rid of this clip, quick way is to hit the X key, and it's going to give you I and your O, and then you can use your apostrophe key to just get rid of it. Now that's good, like if you're in the middle of something. I'm going to bring it back. Okay, say I'm going to cut this again. You're in the center here. You want to get rid of anything that's underneath the playhead will automatically becomes highlighted because that's how it's set up in my preferences. I can hit my X key, the X, and what it does is it sets the I and O position in and out. And you can do that by hitting, let me undo that. You can go over here the longer way and you can hit in, and then you can drag your playhead over to the cut and hit O, and you notice you have it I and O. But that's extra steps, so you don't need to have to do that. So I'm going to undo it. Command Z, just undo that, and instead put this playhead anywhere there, hit the X key, and it automatically substitutes I and O because that's part of the shortcut. Just double check in your shortcuts to make sure that's set up. The X key creates an I and O position, and then you use your apostrophe key. Now the apostrophe, if you're not sure what that is, look at your row on your computer. I'm on the Mac, so I'm not positive where yours is. Usually after the L key, you'll have your colon and semicolon, and the one after that would be your quotation mark, and below it is your apostrophe. So whichever way your keyboard is set up, generally you should have those keys near each other. So go for that, and then you hit the apostrophe. And what it does very nicely, it removes that segment clip from in the middle and closes the gap very nicely. So let's undo that. I'm going to Command Z. To remove that, if you're not Command Z, you can also Shift X. See, it should be Command X. Oops. Command Z. Should be, but I'm just going to do this. Okay. It should, let's see, X, Shift X, Shift Command X. That should undo it. But anyway, it's not doing it right now. But you can do the X to get it there and apostrophe to remove it. And that's the main thing right there. Command Z to come out of that. Okay. So those are some very nice shortcuts. I would definitely, it will help to speed things up as you're editing. So what I'm doing, just to get back to where I really want to be, so this is your project panel here where you have all your bins and your clips. This is where you set things up so you can pull things into your timeline, and this is your main monitor, like your TV monitor, where you're going to see everything. So that's important. Over here you have your graphics, essential graphics, and you can go on your edit. And if you were to have a graphic pulled in, you click on it and it would open up the information on this side when you decide to pull in your graphics. Okay, so one of the things that I'm doing, let me undo this. This is under, that's okay, I can just leave it there. Let me go back to what was I working on? Gratitude. Okay. So I was working on this one particular sequence, which is going to be a video in itself, a gratitude video. So let me unlock it. Remember how to unlock this? Shift and click, and that unlocks everything. Okay. I don't need the audio, actually. I don't really want that particular audio. So to get rid of the audio, you can go here to the link and unlink everything. You notice that when I click, the audio is no longer linked. If I click back on this selector here, it says link selection. I can barely see it under my cursor, but it's linked selection. It's a selector. It links, if it's blue, and I click, notice both the video and the audio get selected. If I click it off and it turns white, and I click back, they're separated. So now I can just click it and hit delete. Click it and hit delete, because I really don't need the audio. It's just the sound of the water running. That's fine. I don't really need that right now. So I went into Pixel. You can go online. All you have to do is go, say, for example, Google Chrome and Pixels, I guess, Pixels. Search for free videos here, and you can go in here and you can search for whatever it is you want. Some of these are really beautiful, and I think that they're, yeah, it looks like they're free. So you can go through and find something. Oh, that's interesting. It's a very interesting face, and that's beautiful. So you simply go in here, pick what you want. Oh, some of these are so pretty. These are 4Ks. That's nice. So if you want to download that, you just click on it, and it'll say to you here, this is the name of the person, and they'd like you to, if you click on it, you will get the person's name, and you can say thank you to them if you're going to use their video. You don't have to, but you can also donate to them if you'd like, and Canva is associated with them, so you can start a Canva account by clicking on this for free. And so that's going to go down here. It comes in with the information as an MP4 video. So that's basically that. I'm going to come out. So after you've gotten your free videos, which these are all ones that I have gotten, these are the ones that I picked out, and I pulled them in already on the timeline just to move things along. But I've showed you all you have to do is drag them in or click on them, come up here and bring them in. So I don't think I need to do that again. So, all right, now, the next thing I would do, now that I have everything set up, I would do the same thing for these. I can go through each one, and that's what I would do. These are the different ones that I want to create. So I'm going to go through and just pull in all the individual videos just like this. And then I'm going to go to Chat-GPT. This is where Chat-GPT comes in. And you're going to go in and you're going to say to Chat-GPT, please give me maybe 5 quotes that are positive affirmations that are free to use. So it would be like, please give me 5 positive affirmation, oops, my computer here, affirmation quotes that are free to use. video. And I always say hello when I start. And thanks. I'm always very polite because if you're polite to the chat GPT, even though it's not a person, it does develop its own personality in a way and talks to you and will say hello and good morning and have a good night. If you're saying I'm going to bed, it'll say I have a good night, sleep well, and talks to you as if it's a friend, because truly it is a virtual assistant. And just like you would be nice to a person, it's a computer, yes, but it may not have feelings the way we do, but it can express itself in terms of happiness or sadness. So there's no need to be rude. So I still go ahead and I'll say thank you or whatever. And so then you can go ahead and hit this little icon, and it says, certainly. Here are 5 affirmation quotes that you can use in your video. I'm worthy of love and respect. I treat myself with kindness and compassion. I am capable of achieving my goals and pursuing my dreams, and I trust in my ability to succeed. I am grateful for all the blessings in my life, and I choose to focus on the positive and embrace joy. I'm strong and resilient, and I face challenges with courage and determination. I am deserving of happiness and fulfillment, and I choose to live a life that brings me joy and meaning. So feel free to use these in your video, and I hope they inspire and uplift you. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, it's not a person, but it's like having a free virtual assistant. You know, it's amazing. If you can't afford to hire somebody, it's really nice. And you don't have to write them exactly as they are. You can make changes. A lot of times I like to put in, once I have a foundation, I might go in and change some of these words and make it my own. So this is where I would go in now, and I would copy this, and I come up here, edit, and copy it. You can also, I think they also have a download button at some point. You can do that. But I would go in to my notes, and I would go in here, and I would paste it. And so I have it available to me to use. Now, what I would do with the individual ones is I would take it, I would go back to Premiere Pro, click on that. Now, I could go ahead and I could use this voiceover to dictate. I've not actually done that before. But let me see something. You know what, let me see, I should say things like, can you give me 5 quotes for gratitude, just to be more specific. Thanks. I always like to say thank you, right? So, specifically for gratitude, sure. Here are 5 copyright-free quotes on gratitude that you can use. Okay. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but the parent of all others. Okay. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It's a spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. This is Henry Ward Beecher. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is nice. Okay. So what I could do is I could take this one, and I could do... If I want to do, Tony Robbins. delete that one, copy that one, go back to Premiere Pro, and actually, let me see something. If I can, I haven't done that before actually, so I'm not even sure. Let's see if it would do so. I don't know. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins. Okay, so I stopped it. Let me go back. This is where it begins because you can see the, let me open this up, and you can see the actual wave. This is where the actual words begin. Let me play that. Let me see if I can hear it. Okay, so it's a little bit low volume. Let me see if I could increase. I think, oh, I was very low. My sound is very low. Let's see if I can hear it. Oops. Bring it back here. Hit play again. Let me try hitting play again. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins. Oh, not bad. Okay, so you can actually do the recording right there. I have my own Rodecaster Pro that I normally use, but this actually came out pretty good. So I'm not sure if this is picking up from the microphone. Let's see, what is it set on? Okay. Internal speakers. Yeah, that was just the internal speakers. Yeah, sure was. But at the same time, I can go ahead and do the recording on my Rodecaster by just turning that on and saying the same thing. But that was actually pretty good. Fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins. So I can go ahead and I can now play this by adjusting the length of the video to match it. And I probably would speak a little bit faster if I wanted it. And so when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins. And you see each video shows up, and so I can decide how long I want each one to show up, and then I can just stop it. So that's perfect. I can do either one if I'm not in the mood to deal with that and bringing the audio over. It actually doesn't sound too bad. And I can go ahead and I can bring this into Audition. So what you do, there are two ways to handle this. Okay, let me move this over. You can click on this audio and you can use the Essential Sound panel of Premiere Pro to modify this to increase the volume. But I like to use the Audition. So what I do is I right click on this. Okay, and you see my hands are up. You're going to go ahead after you right click the audio, you go here where it says edit clip in Adobe Audition, and it stays there so you're not going to break anything, so that's fine. Click on that and it's going to go ahead and open up Adobe Audition for you. And it's opening up. It's jumping here at the bottom. It takes a second to open up. So when I open it up in Audition, it gives me, I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need that. So this is what the clip looks like. If I go ahead, here is Audition, and we'll probably would have to do a separate lesson how to use it, but it's got your file, your edit, multi-track. I'm using not multi-track, I'm just using a single track right now, and this down here is an area that you'd have to go into separately that shows you how to adjust and erase or get rid of unnecessary sounds and so forth. But I'm just going to use this up here. It says waveform and it says multi-track. So I'm on, you see it's blue. Anytime something is blue, it means that that's the one that's active. My multi-track is not active. I don't need that right now. Here's the track, right? And you notice here it says audio 1, extracted raw wave. So as I edit this, it will automatically be edited in Premiere Pro, which is what I really like. It's very nice. So now I'm going to just play it here.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
Okay. So the volume is not bad, but this is what you use to adjust it. This little icon here, see right now it's at 0 decibels. You can go ahead and increase, you make the wave a little bit bigger if you want that to be larger, or if you want it to be smaller. What it's going to do, if you look over here.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
If I wanted to bring this back over here, I could make this smaller. See how much smaller the waves are? As I decrease the waves and I play it, look over here what happens.
When you are grateful,
it drops down, and so it's a lot lower.
Abundance appears.
So you want to keep things up here somewhere between, looks like around 3 and 6 is a good spot. So I would like to maybe, so you do the same thing with the space bar to play. You use the space bar. I'm going to bring it back up a bit more and see where I am in terms of.
When you are grateful, fear disappears.
That's not bad.
And abundance appears.
That's actually pretty good. If you go up too much, you'll hit red. You don't want it. It's okay to see green and yellow, but you don't want to see red. So that's pretty good. In here, I can take a good look. I can use this and move things around. You see, as I move to the left, my waves are stretched out. And I can look inside of them to see if there's anything in there I want to get rid of. Okay, there's my key, my camera again, change in. So it's going to flick back on again. All right, now I can, as I am, I don't know if this is a word. Let's see what that is.
Here.
And then I can go in front of it.
Here.
Let's see.
Appears.
Maybe that's.
Appear.
Well, actually, maybe it is, because I did say up here, so I would leave it there. You have to make sure it's something you want to get rid of. There's not too much here. Let me see, what's this?
Disappears. Disappear. Disappear.
Okay.
Disappears.
Okay, so that's actually fine. A lot of times there is a lot of stuff in here. You grab this to stretch it out even more, move it to the left. Here's maybe something I could probably get rid of, just that little piece right there. Highlight it, hold my trackpad and pull. And you notice these sort of like parentheses, and inside of it, you go up here. You don't delete, because what happens if you delete and you're trying to lip sync, in this case it doesn't matter, but a lot of times you'd want to lip sync your audio and your video, so don't delete. What you do is you simply use this very same little icon up here that gives you the decibels, and notice what's going to happen. You've got this little blip here. I don't know if you can make it out. I'm going to move to the left, and you notice what happens? It just disappeared. So if it didn't go away the first time, you can do it again. See that? It just disappears right there. That's how I would do it. If you want to remove any extra sounds that you want to get rid of, that's how you do it. Sometimes these are extra sounds, but it looks as if when I played it that it
disappears,
that it was okay. I didn't need to remove it. So just be sure you're not removing something that's still useful. You can tell that this is a wave. You see how big they are? But here's something in here. Let's see what this is right here.
Here.
Oh, I know what it is.
appeared.
Because I could still get rid of that, because that's generally not anything. I could get rid of that little thing in the center, but I would probably leave this one.
Appears.
See, that sounds fine, appears. And so this is a little difficult sometimes to see, because you notice how clear it is, and you've got this hand, you've got to grab hold of this, and you got to pull it this way, and you pull it that way to stretch it out. So you're moving back and forth to get the view you want. And then you're going to move your cursor over the area. If you want to, you can remove that. I can decrease that, get rid of it. Sometimes the tail end may be like an S or a T or something that you don't really need.
Appears.
Okay, so that's perfectly fine. And let's see what else.
Tony Robbins.
Okay, let me see that again.
Tony Robbins.
All right, and I don't hear too much extra sounds. This is pretty flat. Sometimes you see a lot of noise as you're going back. You can take this and pull this and bring it all the way back. You notice how this is sort of like this little tube. It's a clear tube, and you can see the waves underneath it. Notice that here you have waves, and here there's really nothing here. So as you're bringing it in, you can get some idea of where you are, and you can match them up together. See that? I've got the waves here. They're all kind of matching up for the most part. Okay, so that's not bad. When you're done, so let me just play it one more time. You can go up here, though, if you want to go into effects, right? And this is where you do your EQ, you do your amplitude and compression. If you want to remove S's and so forth, you can. This is where you're going to do it. But it actually sounded pretty good. You can go into, let me see, amplitude and compression, dynamic processing. You can click on that, and you can play around with this. I don't even think I need that. I'm going to go into effects. Let's see. I see. Noise reduction, if you wanted to get rid of that. It has a noise reduction process, but what you have to do is it's going to tell you that you need to capture a noise print. So I don't really have anything here that's really noisy. Generally, this area, if it was noisy, I would play that. See how nice and quiet that is? That's very unusual to get that. So, because I have a fan right here next to me, I thought it was going to be really noisy, but there was no noise, so that's amazing. I don't have a noise print to remove any noise, but if I did, I would simply do this, and it would say I've captured it. Let me go ahead and just do it just to show you. Let's see. Noise. Here it is. Capture noise print. And it says the current video selection will be captured and loaded as your noise print, right? So I'm going to say okay. Then you would take this and pull it all the way over your clip, or you can go to Edit, select All, and it would select all of your clip, right? And then you would go back to Effects, go in here to Noise Reduction, and it would be Noise Reduction Process. Here it is. You can play this to hear if you hear any noise. It's so quiet, I hear nothing. Really, pretty much nothing. Take off
An
it.
abundance appears.
There's not much of
Tony
anything.
Robbins.
Yeah, there's really not much noise, but I already have it set up to decrease
When you are grateful, fear
the noise.
disappears, and abundance appears.
I can put it back on. This is green, meaning that the effect is being produced to decrease the noise, but there's really nothing to decrease. That's the output noise.
Tony Robbins.
Let me let it come through one more time. I'm going to listen to it one more time. And it also
When
does
you're
have,
grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins.
okay, so say I like that. I'm going to hit apply. It's not going to change it that much. And so it did do a little bit. Okay, so let me go back. Let me see if it still does the. Okay, I'm just going to bring it back here and let's see, play. Oh, wait, sorry, I have this I selected. Here's a little bit of a blip here I don't really need. Yeah, I can get rid of some of this. Let's get rid of that. So all you have to do is pull back on that and it gets rid of it. So you can come back here, drag back to the beginning, and let's hear it again.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
Okay, so that sounds pretty, all right, that sounds pretty good. So when you're done, you want to go up here to File and take a look at this first of all. You notice that here now it says extracted with, there's a little asterisk right there. Pay attention to that because that's going to disappear when you've saved it. That means that it's sending everything, it's going to disappear. It means it's going to send everything now to Premiere Pro. So all of this will change and you won't hear that low sound that we heard before. Everything that we've done to sweeten it, to change it, to modify it, to de-ess it, or whatever you want to do. I didn't do all that. I just didn't feel I needed to. But that would take a different video because it's, you know, lots of stuff that you can do here. So look at that. Remember this. I'm going to File and I'm going to say Save. You notice what happened very quickly? It disappeared. That means it's been saved. So now I just go to my yellow and I minimize it. I come back to Premiere Pro. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to play and let's see.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins.
Notice this, how before we were down here, really low decibels. So actually the louder the sound, the lower these decibels will be. So it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. So when it's down here in the 20s or 40s, it's very low, but the closer it gets to zero, the louder it is. And then when it goes beyond zero, it clips and it turns red. So let's hear it one more time and pay attention to this area.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins.
Right, you see that? So that's in the perfect area of the sound quality that you want. If you wanted to do even more, you can select it. Before you do your cutting, I always recommend do not cut up your audio until you send it to Audition, because then you're going to have to do it piece by piece, and it's very annoying, and trying to get them to match up later on is very annoying. So if you have your audio in one piece, that's really good. Go ahead, select that. Go here to, if it's not showing, oh, here it is. I have it here, Essential Sound. Click on it. Grab one of these handles here. Open this up a little bit because you're going to need this. Move this out of your way. And now what you want to tell Premiere Pro is that this is my voice as opposed to music. Notice over here it says dialogue and it says music. That's important because we're going to tag it and we're going to tell the computer that this is my voice, and so whatever change you're making, make it for a human being and not music. So I'm going to hit dialogue. And see, it automatically opens everything up. It's very intuitive. So now you can say if you want clarity with dynamics, I can hit on some dynamics, and then you use this bar to increase it whatever amount you want. You can make changes. You can bring this back here so you can hear it as you're playing it. You can also enhance your speech for high tone or low tone. Let's go ahead and listen to it now.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead, bring it back, and I'm going to add enhanced speech. It's got high tone, which is more for women, and the low tone is more for men. So when I play that.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears.
Okay. Okay. So if I take that off, I'm going to put low tone. Let's see how it sounds using a more manly voice.
When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Tony Robbins.
Okay, so it's not bad, but it's a slightly deeper, and so you can try all these different loudness. You have there are presets too that you can use if you're using television. If you're in a big room, you can play with these different presets and try them out to see which one works best. I just kind of leave it on the one it comes with, and dynamics, I keep it very low. I don't think I need a lot, but you can increase that number up and your voice is going to get louder and bigger. So I try not to overdo it, because as I was learning how to do this, you can really overdo a lot of these elements. So I would recommend do it very, very slightly, because it's going to make your voice sound very artificial and horrible. So try not to do it too much until you get used to it. I'm still learning. This is an entire field. I've never been to school to do any audio, any visual. All this is brand new. Lights, action, everything is brand new to me. I'm a physician. I learned how to work on human beings, not on computers. So I didn't even know how to type. So this is all brand new. So I'm learning little by little by listening to all of the fantastic creators that are on YouTube. It may look, it looks, what they're doing, it may look simple. That's because they're good. When it looks simple, it's because they're so good at what they do. But it's not simple. It is hard. From what I said, there's about like 8 different major things that you have to learn how to do as a content creator. Big things. There's so much, the lighting, the camera, you've got sound, it's incredible the amount of things that you have to learn to manage. And most of the time people are by themselves. I'm envious of some of the women who have a partner there. A lot of the guys are helping them doing their editing, and that's fantastic. But I actually have no one to help me, so it's a one-woman show. Therefore, whatever errors I have to accept them. And I'm using a green screen. I'm using all kinds of things. I'm learning a lot, so it's fun. I'm really excited. So hopefully that you're excited too. I'm learning each shortcut that I learn from each person. I mean, some of these fantastic people like Valentina V, Premier Gal, Jack Cole, that's a guy, and Colin Smith. All these people are fantastic, and they're the ones that I'm learning about Premiere Pro, After Effects, sound. They're fantastic. Roberta Blake, is fantastic to kind of give me the understanding of vertical videos. He said something that I thought was really phenomenal, that everybody listening should know. If you're listening this long, you need to know, do not expect to get an audience from your vertical videos to cross over to your long videos. They're 2 different audiences, 2 different age groups. The young Gen Zs love the vertical stuff. The regular people, 30s, 40s, 50s, and above, they generally like the longer form, and they're willing to sit and listen to a long video. But the kids, they want things in 5-10 seconds. I don't even know how you can teach something in less than 15 seconds, but the most watch videos are less than 30 seconds. Many of them less than 15 seconds. It's incredible, but that's how they think, with speed, and they're very short attention span. But so anyway, this is basically what I wanted to show you, that you can use Chat-GPT to help give you ideas, give you pull quotations, anything you want, help you write the script. And then I would set up Premiere Pro with multiple sequences or multiple chapters of the book, and then go ahead and you can use, now I'm going to even try doing the audio right here inside of Premiere Pro rather than putting it on my Rodecaster Pro and then having to take it out and transfer it over to Premiere Pro. So you learn something new every day. So it's fantastic. I would go ahead and give it a try. All you have to do when you're done is to go ahead and do your I and O. We'll put your cursor at the end and you hit export. You know, you can start over here when you finished and you hit I, and then you bring it over to the end and you hit O. That's exactly what is going to be exported. You come up here and you hit export, and it's going to take you through the export. I'm not going to do it right now. I'll probably do that on a separate video, but you just follow the instructions, and it's very intuitive and easy to follow. And you make your video and then you upload it. So I'm going to continue off screen working on this, and you'll probably see it on YouTube when I finish my gratitude. I'm hoping that I can finish it today and upload it by tonight. And I'm hoping that I can pull in all the videos I need for some of these other chapters or sequences so that I'm ready to get these shorts out. And also I have my live video, and I'm going to try to take a portion of that and maybe build that into a separate video. So I've had a really wonderful time. I thank you all for watching, either, well, it's going to be in the future, and hopefully you will enjoy this. And thank you so much. Please subscribe. It will help me tremendously. I would really, really appreciate it to hit the like button so that YouTube will show this to other people, and I'll be able to make more. As I'm learning, we can all learn together. Thank you very much, and you have a blessed and wonderful day. Okay. I'm going to shut down and